Soldiers don't rise above fear. They learn how to shut it down. One of the most powerful tools they use doesn't come from strength, weapons, or endless training drills. It comes from breath. A controlled, scientific breathing protocol capable of dissolving panic in seconds, even in situations where fear destroys focus, judgment, and survival. This is the classified method military units use to maintain operational calm under life-threatening stress, a method most civilians will never hear about. Until now. Northern Iraq, 2013. A special operations team trapped inside a narrow alley. Gunfire echoing from two directions. Dust fills the air. Visibility drops to near zero. Adrenaline floods every operator's system. One soldier feels his heartbeat explode. Too fast, too loud, too chaotic. His vision tunnels. His hands begin to shake. His thoughts scatter. In that moment, where panic destroys most men, he does something different. He presses his back against the wall, closes his eyes for 3 seconds, and breathes. 4 seconds in, hold. 4 seconds out. Within moments, his pulse stabilizes, his hands steady, clarity return. When the mission ended, he told his unit psychologist, "Those 10 seconds of breathing saved my mind and possibly my life." This wasn't luck. This wasn't courage. This was a military-engineered technique that rewires the brain's response to fear. Anxiety is not a civilian problem. It's a human neurological response. And the brain reacts identically, whether it's facing enemy contact or a high-stakes boardroom decision. When fear triggers, the body enters survival mode. Heart rate spikes above 150 beats per minute. Breathing becomes rapid and shallow. Cognitive function narrows to tunnel vision. Rational thought collapses. For soldiers, this moment is lethal. Military psychologists needed a countermeasure that worked instantly, something requiring no equipment, no preparation, and no external support. Something executable in complete darkness, under fire, or in total sensory chaos. The solution wasn't found in motivation or mental toughness. It was found in human biology, a specific breathing pattern that forces the autonomic nervous system to override panic signals and restore command-level thinking. This wasn't taught in schools, therapy offices, or corporate wellness programs. It was developed inside classified military psychology labs as operational survival technology. Inside real combat environments, chaos functions as a psychological weapon. Explosions shake the ground beneath your feet. Radio chatter floods your ears with overlapping voices. Smoke obscures targets. Decisions must be made in fractions of a second, with incomplete information and zero margin for error. The human brain enters hyperarousal, a state where logic shuts down and instinct attempts to hijack control. Military neuroscience research revealed a critical vulnerability. During hyperarousal, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for reasoning and decision-making, goes offline. The brain stops processing command. It only listens to physiological signals, breath rate, heart rate, internal rhythm. If breathing is fast and erratic, the brain interprets continued danger and amplifies panic. If breathing is slow and controlled, the brain receives a biological all-clear signal, even when external danger remains. This discovery became the foundation of tactical psychology. Control the breath, control the brain, control the outcome. There is always a moment before panic fully takes over. A moment when the heartbeat becomes audible inside your chest. When thoughts begin racing ahead of reality. When the mind starts constructing worst-case scenarios. Elite operators feel this too. But unlike untrained individuals, they're conditioned to recognize the pre-panic window. That critical 5-second gap where intervention is still possible. The rising tension isn't the enemy. It's a tactical cue, a signal to activate the breathing override. Special forces units don't wait for full-blown panic. They intervene early, interrupting the psychological spiral before it gains momentum. This is the line separating a collapsing mind from an operational one. The technique is known as box breathing, also called tactical breathing, or combat breath control. It follows a precise 4-phase structure. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Repeat in a controlled rhythm. The pattern creates a box of breath, steady, predictable, mathematically structured. The brain responds to structure the same way soldiers respond to orders. It stabilizes. Box breathing forces the autonomic nervous system to shift from sympathetic arousal, fight or flight, into parasympathetic dominance, rest and recovery. It regulates heart rate variability. It silences emotional noise. It restores blood flow to the prefrontal cortex. For soldiers, this means better tactical decisions under fire. For civilians, it means shutting down anxiety before it hijacks judgment. When fear activates, the body's sympathetic nervous system triggers a cascade. The hypothalamus signals the adrenal glands. Adrenaline and cortisol flood the bloodstream. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, dominates neural processing. This chemical storm creates panic, aggression, and cognitive tunnel vision. But controlled, rhythmic breathing reverses the cascade. It activates the vagus nerve, which signals the parasympathetic nervous system to engage. It reduces cortisol and adrenaline levels within 60 to 90 seconds. It increases heart rate variability, HRV, a biomarker of stress resilience. It restores prefrontal cortex function, allowing logical thought to return. Navy SEAL research documented heart rate reductions of 20 to 30 beats per minute within 2 breathing cycles. Delta Force operators reported cognitive clarity restoration in under 15 seconds. This isn't relaxation. This is biological override, a switch you can activate in the middle of chaos. A Marine Raider sergeant recalled a mission in Helmand Province. During a building breach, the entry stack became separated. Smoke grenades filled the corridor. Radio communication failed. He felt panic building, a rising wave threatening to drown rational thought. He remembered the protocol, placed one gloved hand against the concrete wall, closed his eyes, executed 3 full cycles of box breathing. He later reported, in less than 20 seconds, the fear disappeared. The situation didn't change, the danger didn't decrease, but my mind shifted from chaos to command. His decision-making sharpened. He reassessed entry angles, located his team through secondary signals. The operation continued without further compromise. His calmness wasn't emotional discipline. It was physiological mastery under operational stress. Anxiety in civilian life doesn't resemble combat, but the brain's neurological response is identical. The moment you feel overwhelmed by information, frozen under pressure, unable to think clearly, consumed by rising panic, trapped in emotional spiraling, you can deploy the same protocol. The brain cannot distinguish between battlefield stress and personal crisis. It only responds to physiological input. Box breathing dissolves anxiety before it becomes a thought loop. It stabilizes your nervous system during high-stakes presentations, difficult confrontations, unexpected emergencies, financial pressure, emotional overwhelm. Calm is not a personality trait reserved for the naturally composed. It is a biological switch, one you can activate in 15 seconds. The military teaches a fundamental truth. Panic is not the enemy. Loss of control is the enemy. Fear will always emerge. Anxiety will always rise in high-stakes moments. But the mind becomes unbreakable when it learns to control its physiological response. Breath is the bridge between chaos and clarity, between emotion and strategy, between reactive instinct and disciplined execution. A single controlled breath cycle can change the trajectory of a moment, and sometimes the outcome of an entire mission or life. Box breathing is only one layer of military psychological conditioning. There is a deeper protocol, one that doesn't just stop anxiety, but prevents it from forming in the first place. A mental conditioning system used exclusively in Tier 1 unit, designed to build a mind that remains operationally calm even when everything around it collapses. A mind calibrated to function at peak capacity under maximum chaos. We reveal that classified protocol in the next episode.